Morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Viewpoint on 96.3 FM, WLCN, on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Callers, we welcome you to call in with your questions, kudoses, whatever it may be, to 217-648-5510. Today on the show, we have Mike Starasta, Director of Lincoln Library. Thank you so much for coming out here. We greatly appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me here today.
You got a lot going on at the library there in Lincoln. So, celebration coming up of, 150 years?
Yes, this will be our sesquicentennial year. The first library was established in Lincoln in 1874.
Oh, wow. Wow. Where was that building at? Was it there? It wasn't there right where it was?
No,
built
it
now?
has been in a number of places around town. The library was organized, the group that organized it met at the Cumberland Presbyterian Church. And I said it's been at a number of places. It's been at basically the equivalent of what's 122 Broadway. I think technically if you go downtown there's a door at the store that goes up, and it's actually labeled, I think, 121 and a half
Okay.
Broadway, and that's one location where it was at. It was on the top level. It was also there used to be a Universalist church in town, which is now where the current Mellow Cream is.
Okay.
And it was located there for a while. When the library first opened, it was what was known as a subscription library, meaning for $4 a year you could have a card, and adjusted for the cost of living, that would be a little over $100 in today's terms. And you could also buy stock in the library for $10 a share, and anyone who bought a share of stock thus had voting rights at the time in the library and how it was run.
Neat. So, some people don't know that the Carnegies, they gave quite a bit of money, to Lincoln to build the new library, now the building there. So, anyway, you want to tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about the history about the Carnegies and what they've done?
Yes, well, the steel magnate Andrew Carnegie funded libraries all over the United States, and actually in overseas as well, including some in Europe, I believe in Belgium and France, and even in Fiji. The way it worked was he would give a seed donation, so to speak, but then you also had to show that you were raising money to kind of, in addition to what he was giving you. In other words, he wasn't going to just give you a blank check for the library, but something to help get it started.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I was doing my research, too, I saw and read that the city of Lincoln gave in 1901 $2,500, and and Carnegie's granted $25,000 in 1901 also, but the $2,500 it said there, it was to be used for funding like inside the building or whatever that may be, and but then Judge Stephen Foley on 1902 donated $5,000, so technically the building cost $30,000. But back then, that's a lot of money to build a building.
Yes, it would be, and the current Carnegie building is the original 1902 building, and it's still
it's a beautiful building.
Standing there, yes, it is.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I was doing my research, some of the buildings or some of the libraries that the Carnegies gave money to, they're no longer standing. They've been demolished. So, but we're very fortunate.
Yes, it's very, very unfortunate that some of those have been demolished. To me, they definitely had character to them.
Mm-hmm. They really did. They showed all the pictures. So anyway, but so fast moving forward. What's coming up for the celebration? Is it all going to be on one time? Or are you going to spread it out throughout, the summer months where we can kind of enjoy the library and take it all in, different events going on?
We'll have several events. On Saturday, May 18th at 2 o'clock, we're having our kickoff celebration. And we will have Bill Donath there from the Historical and Genealogical Society, who will be talking about the history of the library. We're also going to have cake there for anyone who would like to.
We got to have food.
Yep. And again, that will be on May 18th at 2.
Mm-hmm. Anything else then going on through the summer then for the 150th, or trying to incorporate
Well, we're
things?
planning on arranging times where we can have guided tours of the Carnegie, in which I will give those tours and talk about the history of the Carnegie and some of the artifacts that we have on display in the Carnegie.
Oh, really?
Which I find to be rather interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then in this fall, we're going to have more of a formal reception at the Carnegie. We haven't set a date for that yet, but
We need to be looking out for those details then.
Yeah.
So neat. Wonderful. So how is our library funded? Some people don't understand or realize, how do we keep the lights on? How do we pay, the utility bill? So on
well,
and so
it's
forth.
funded through tax dollars, and also I try to apply for as many grants as I can to help supplement that.
And then people checking out books, what is the cost there or not? Or
Well, if you live in the library district, there's no extra charge because you pay for it through your taxes. If you live outside of district, you can get a library card for, I think it's $89
but that's good for the year.
for the entire year. And you have access not just to books, but we also to print books, but also to electronic books. We have literally the number. I can't tell you the exact number, but it's in the 6 digits of
Oh, wow.
electronic books you have access to. Plus, we can get items on interlibrary loan, which means you can get a book from any other library in the state
Okay. Neat.
for that cost, which is a lot cheaper than going to, say, Barnes & Noble or
other
things like that. Yes,
or other electronic or e-books out there to go ahead and download. So
exactly.
wonderful. So people do, use that subscription quite a bit then.
Oh, yes.
You've noticed, and
Yes.
so kind of changing with the times and keeping up with the times.
Yeah,
so.
and I said in addition to books, we also have items. We have newspapers on microfilm. We have the Lincoln Courier. Actually, we have a lot of local newspapers, some of which are no longer in existence on microfilm. Those get used quite a bit when people are doing, say, genealogical research.
Okay.
They want to find out information about an event or something their relatives did.
Neat. And then come to the library and it's all recorded and historical.
Yeah, we even have microfilms of a German language newspaper that was published in Lincoln in the 1890s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is neat. Any other interesting things like that that the library has on hand for
Well,
others?
we have a number of interesting items on display, including, and I don't know the history of it, but it's a Greek bowl that is 3,000 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
We have on display in the library.
Oh, wow. Neat. That is neat. So what is downstairs? Because it used to have the children's portion of the library down there. So what's downstairs now?
Well, the children's portion, of course, has been moved to the annex. Downstairs, we admittedly use it largely for storage.
I remember at one time, didn't we have, or do you still do the used book sales? Or
We have an annual book sale about the same time as the Balloon Fest, but actually people can come in any time and browse through books that are in the book sale.
Okay.
And can take as many as they want for $1.
Okay. Alrighty. What makes you decide to go ahead and get those books out? And is it bringing new in, or is it you got multiples of those
For the
or-
book sale?
Yes.
Sometimes it's bringing new books in. People also donate a lot of books. Particularly, it seems like in the springtime, they're doing spring cleaning, and they drop off books they don't want anymore, and we put them in the book sale so that they'll benefit the library.
Oh, that's neat. So nice donation, then they can
Yeah.
give back to the library there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's neat. That's wonderful. So anyway, what's going on with the kids in the annex building for this summer?
Well, we'll be having our annual summer reading program.
Uh-huh.
Sign up for that, I believe, begins around May 20th, and the programs will start in June.
Okay. So when I was doing my research, how old can the kids be to go over there to the children's section of the annex?
Well, to go into the children's section, it's really any age, although if they are, say, below 14, they should have an adult with them.
Okay. But I think it's like I went to high school to like senior in high school, I think I read, or something like that, 18 years
Yeah.
old. Is that correct? Then, what do you have programs for the older kids then? Anything coming up then for the older ones or not?
Well, one thing we had going on that's been very popular is a Dungeons and Dragons game group that's been meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 5:30.
Okay, what do they do there? Because I'm at a loss on that.
Well,
So.
they play the role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons.
Is it on a video game they play, or you said
No,
role-playing?
it's they have pieces and play.
Okay.
I admit I'm not real familiar with it. I've never played it myself, but I know it's very popular.
Okay, really? That's wonderful. What age groups is that geared to?
Really, anyone from probably about middle school through high school.
Okay. All righty. Neat. Well, we're going to take a quick time out and thank our sponsors for the show, and we'll return here on Viewpoint. Hi, welcome back to Viewpoint at 96.3 FM. Again, callers, if you want to talk about book clubs, anything, any questions about the e-books, if you're not familiar with them, and all the different services are offered at the library, feel free to call in at 217-648-5510. We have Mike Starasta, and I apologize if I mispronounce. Anyway, the director of the Lincoln Public Library with us. And again, our library is going to be celebrating 150 years this year. Lots of different things coming up. And while we took our commercial break, we were talking about book clubs. I've seen some people talk online about, forming a book club. If somebody's out there and they want to have a book club and have a nice place to sit and relax and meet with others, can they do that there at the library?
Yes, we don't have any book clubs that are currently meeting at this time, but if somebody would like to form one, just let us know and we'd be more than happy to host you.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what's the hours at the library then?
Well, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are open from 9 to 5. Tuesday and Thursday, we're open from 9 to 7. And on Saturdays, we are open from 9 to 1 and closed on Sundays.
Wonderful. So you do welcome the book club. So
yes, we'd be more than happy to have book clubs come and meet.
So besides just, the adult book clubs, also, too, if the kids want to, form their own book clubs, too, they can also do that as well.
Oh, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Okay,
yes.
Wonderful. So talking back, kind of circling back to the history, because we are celebrating 150 years, you got a lot of interesting facts there for us. You want to share some of those with us about the library?
Well, as I said, it was kind of interesting that it was originally a subscription library, and then around the 1890s, it was actually funded for a little while from the public school district that existed at the time, and in exchange, high school students were given library cards. Mm-hmm. And I don't know when that stopped, when it changed over, but I don't think that was for a very long period of time.
Right.
It was funded by the schools.
So what about electricity? When did they bring modernization into the library?
Said it was in about 1953 that electric lighting was put in. Before that, it was gas lighting. And then what's interesting was just a couple years later that they got air conditioning.
Okay.
So, I don't know, it just seems interesting that there was, it took so long to get electric lighting, but then they got air conditioning, not long after that.
Neat. That is neat. Any other interesting facts you want to share with us about the history of the library? Has it gone through some major changes or renovations throughout the time or not?
Well, it's expanded out in the sense that in 1995 we bought the old Woolworth store, which is now the Annex building. And in that building we have children's materials, we have adult fiction, and DVDs and CDs.
Oh, wow.
In there. And in the Carnegie building, we have some interesting items on display. A lot of people find our ceiling dome that's in there to be very fascinating. It's done in a Frank Lloyd Wright style, although it wasn't done by him, but it's kind of a very similar style if you look at it. We also have a Greek bowl that is 3,000 years old that's on display. We have a number of items that are actually owned by the Scully family.
Oh, really?
That we hold on display for them. They're not technically owned by the library, but there's was a Winchester repeating rifle from the 1870s that's on display, as well as surveying equipment that was owned by a member of the Scully family from the 1800s. It's on display.
That's fascinating. Well. So does the library have quite a bit of the Scully history there for people to research, and if they're wanting to do some research like that on the Scully ground?
I don't think specifically on the Scully family, other than the items we have on display. We have some information because we have a significant collection of local history sources that people can use to research genealogy. Mm-hmm. So a number of families in this area could be researched on that. We have newspapers on microfilm, including some that are no longer in existence today, such as a German language newspaper that was published in Lincoln in the 1890s.
Mm-hmm. So does our local library, do you work hand in hand with the Genealogical Society as well, then helping each other with artifacts and restoring or recording things then too?
Well, we haven't done a lot of hand-in-hand work, but it has proven useful at times to contact them for information when somebody has a reference question about something related, usually to local history or genealogy.
So do you have a lot of people that come in and do their history searches there at the library?
Yes,
then?
we do. A lot of times they like to look at the old newspapers on microfilm to find information about family members or...
Neat. That is neat. So are you needing volunteers at the library at this time or not? Are you pretty well staffed with staff and with volunteers?
Well, we're pretty well staffed right now. One thing we are looking at doing is forming a Friends of the Library group, and we'll be passing out information about that at the May 18th kickoff celebration.
You want to share us anything about that then?
Well,
what
a
that
Friends
entails?
group would help us in a number of ways. One thing is that they could be established as a 501c3 organization, which would help us in getting grants.
Okay. So what all will this Friends group do for the library?
Well, they would be involved, as said, in helping us to get and then administer grants. We could also... They could serve as advisors to the library, kind of eyes and ears in the community, to help us to understand how we can better reach
Oh, neat.
the needs of the community here in Lincoln and what we can do, in effect, to help Lincoln to be a better place.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds neat. So you said that information will be ready about for the May 18th
Yes.
opening then? Or the celebration, I should say, or part of the celebration. So anyway, that's neat. Is there anything else you want to discuss with our listeners or let them know about the library or touch upon that we may have missed or overlooked?
Well, the main thing I would just want to emphasize is we have a lot more than just print books. You can use our online services, for instance, to check out ebooks and audiobooks. We have the local history collection. We have a lot going on in the youth section, particularly this summer with the summer reading program. That is a very popular thing that goes on every year.
Is the e-book, circling back, do you have to have, some people may not be tech savvy, so what kind of a device do they need to check out a book online, electronic?
Well, you'd want to have a smartphone with the apps downloaded. There's an app called Libby that is used to check out these materials, and you can always come in and we can help you figure out how to do it.
So if they have a tablet, whether it be, Android or Apple too?
Yes.
Now, would Kindle work well with that or not, or is Kindle on a different platform? Because like I said, I'm not...
You'd be better off probably using a...
the Android or the Apple?
Yeah.
Okay, alrighty, to get that. Neat. And that is just, $89 for the year subscription for that too?
If you live out of district.
If you live out of district,
If you
okay.
live in district of the library district, it's not any additional charge.
Not to put you on the spot, so would I be in library district or not? I'm New Holland, Sheridan Township. So am I in district or out of district?
You'd be out of district.
I'm out of district. So what is considered in district then for?
Well, most of Lincoln. There are parts of Lincoln that are not because individuals in that area voted at one time not to be in the district.
Oh, okay. So it
But
kind of
again,
depends on
you
where
can
you
come
live.
in and we can look it up for you to
Okay.
make sure that you're in district. But even with the yearly charge, if you're not in district, that's a much better deal than, say, going to a bookstore
Right.
like Barnes & Noble.
Right.
Because you have an unlimited access to not just our print books and our e-books, but because we're part of a larger library system, you can literally get books from any library in the state of Illinois. So we're
what
talking access to literally millions of
What
items.
library? So what library system are we part of? Because we used to be part of Rolling Prairie,
Right,
correct?
right. Well, those have consolidated right now. One time there were, I believe, 7 library systems in the state of Illinois. Now there are 3. We are part of the Illinois Heartland Library System, which basically is the southern half of the state, or the northern border of Logan County on south. And then you have the RAILS, which stands for Reaching Across the Illinois Library System, which would be from the northern border of Logan County up to the Wisconsin border, and then Cook County is its own library system.
Okay.
But even though we're in Illinois Heartland, we could still get books for you from the other library systems.
So you're just
state.
not limited, basically,
Right.
then. So, wonderful. Okay. Well, Mike, I greatly appreciate you coming to the station and talking about the history of the library. And there's a lot going on and a lot of things bright for the future there, and how we can still grow our library, meet the needs of everybody, it sounds like. So
Definitely.
wonderful.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And folks, thank you for tuning into Viewpoint on 96.3 FM. The Lord and weather willing, we'll be back next week.